Hello and welcome back to turn 5 of the corrected playthrough of GMT's Field of Fire 2 Peleliu campaign mission 1 initial assault. Right, so we are about to get our HQs on the board, main HQs, platoon and CO HQs on the board this turn. We have quite a success up here last turn where we were able to put assault teams into these cards and find no contacts from there. However, we have found big contacts over here, a bunker firing into here and a squad in a trench here as well. But we should be able to outflank them, I think. The doomed cards, as you can see with the white borders, means there is LOS all the way across here. And so that we should be able to bring some fire to bear initially on this card and maybe even the bunker. But of course our objectives are up here, these two cards. We need to secure one of those to finish the mission. And we have some troops here already in waiting with staff HQs, although they don't have a lot of orders to play with. But hopefully in the next couple of turns we'll get their HQs in and running. Also to note, we do have a couple of amphibious tanks here helping us out, and it's that amphibious tank that actually uncovered drew the fire of these units here last turn. So we also cleared these cards all the way up to here, with the exception of this one card here, which has a potential contact C, and as luck would have it, that's the card that the COHQ is coming in on an LVT this turn. Wonderful. But hey, we should be okay. We're currently heavy engaged because we have at least 2 PDF markers, and we have an enemy on card, the same card as us, which is this squad here, which is very difficult to turf out of their spider holes, despite a successful grenade attack last turn. That ended up we ended up on the worst end of that whole combat, surprisingly. Anyway, on we go, and of course the traditional thing to do to start off with is to look at an battalion HQ intervention, and we do have one. Always a lot of trepidation in this, but last time we had one of these we ended up with 2 tanks, so you know, maybe our luck will be okay here. So we have a 1 on the 10 randomizer there. So just looking at the possibilities from mission 1, and here we go again with the little chart here. The 1 comes up here, and it is the sit rep we had at the beginning of the game, which means that 3 commands from the company HQ have to be used to report what's going on. So, oh well, yeah, I think yeah, our fortune with the tanks, I think we can say it evens out a little bit. But anyway, that's our intervention from Battalion HQ, and now we'll move on to the command phase, where we will get all our activations done, if any. Again, there won't be any really, because the company HQ is in the staging area, so it will be able to pass commands along. It has to give 3 away this turn, we've just realised, but it can't really affect anything on the board as yet until it gets into the cards and gets out of the LVT. So right, well, yeah, let's switch to the command display and just go through the command phase. Right, here we have our command display. Just zoom out to see the entire track. So we activate our company HQ, and then we will look for the number of commands, +1 because it's a veteran HQ. Oh great, look at that. So we got 5 + 1 is 6. So that goes right up the chart here to the 9. And of course we need to use 3 commands for the sit rep, so it brings us back down to there for the turn. We can't really affect anything where we are. So it's only the other platoon HQs that are in the staging area, and they're all at maximum that they can be for saved commands. So there really is no point in doing anything particular with the CO HQ. So we will save those commands. And that's our activity phase. We'll go on to the initiative phase because we haven't activated anything from the CO HQ. Right, and on the initiative side, again, the platoon HQs are pointless doing anything, including also the MG platoon, the mortar section as well. These are all at a maximum save, and they can't really do anything other than save at the moment. So we are left with the tank platoon, and then the 3 command staff, the gunnery sergeant, first sergeant, and the XO. So with the last 3 of those, they each get 1 command. And we will also do an initiative draw for the tank platoon. And that's the little number this time. It's line, so therefore it will get 1 command. 1 command will probably do us, I think. Yeah, take us up to 3. And they're now in a position to do something, those tanks. So we'll probably be activating and using them. Okay, so we've got our 4 HQs we can do something with now in initiative. Then we'll have our draw for general impulse. So first sergeant with 4 available, the tank platoon and the XO with 3, and the gunnery sergeant with 2. So let's switch back to the board and let's see how we expend these commands, if any. Right, here we are. One thing I haven't done, of course, is add any activations for the LVTs, which I'll just do now. The automatic ones. So as we're on turn 5, we have the new set of LVTs coming in with our HQs and 3rd squads of each platoon. And what we'll also do, just to get out of the way, is we will use 2 commands from the tank platoon HQ, which is actually this tank here, to activate these 2 tanks. Of course, they don't really do anything until the vehicle phase, so they'll just sit there for the moment. So on with the other HQs. We've taken the tank platoon down by 2, and it's now got 1 saved activation. So first off, we'll do the first sergeant here. Zoom out a little bit, and so we can see what we're doing here. So the idea this turn is actually to get this part of a platoon moved onto the dunes, into the trenches, I think, and then from there we'll be able to look at sending the assault team ahead into the objective and see what's what. So it's not a platoon HQ, the first sergeant, so therefore he'll have to order individual units. So the first thing he's going to do is order himself. Well, the last thing he does is order himself, but he will order this squad, and that demolition team. So that's 3 commands plus 1 for himself. That's 4 commands used up. He only has 4 commands, so we will use them up and he will have 0 left. But we will order everybody forward, to move forward and go into the trenches. So let's all do that. Oops. And we will put a exposed marker on, but it's not particularly relevant, I don't believe. The assault team isn't exposed, so we'll just stick him on top of the exposed marker. and under the trench marker, and there we go. So that's the first sergeant done. So next let's look at the XO, which we'll try and advance as well. Now he's got 3 commands available, and I think the 3 commands would be to order for this squad, the flamethrower unit, and himself, because the platoon HQ is going to be coming in, and this platoon is only 2 steps anyway. So we'll use those 3 commands to get everybody off the beach, and that will leave him with 0 as well. And we'll do the same thing here. So we will have the platoon and the flamethrower team and the XO into the trench. And that's all the commands we have there. Right. So now we're left with the gunnery sergeant, who is here, who is pinned. We have our assault team here, which is the only sort of good order unit, as they defined in the rules, on the card here. We will try and get our gunnery sergeant to be unpinned, which is a rally. He's a veteran, so that's 3 cards. Are we looking for the rally word? No. A blank there. And a blank there, so that fails. And that took a command. There's not much else he can do, really, because he's restricted because he is pinned. So yeah, I think I'll save his last command, and the pinning will at least protect from the Japanese fire coming in, and we'll just have to use general initiative for this assault team to try and do something about that squad again. So that completes the gunnery sergeant. He has 1 command left. Okay, and what I really wanted to do is to attempt to get a spot happening here. I think I'll have to use the tanks for that. A non-pin tank can actually do a spotting attempt, just like an infantry unit does. It counts as actually firing, so they can't fire, spot and fire in the same turn. But I think we might do that, and then if we manage to spot something, maybe we can then fire on it with the other tank. But I think we'll have to leave that up to them. We don't really have the spare the spare orders to do that. We could possibly use this guy in to spot here on general initiative, but it depends what we draw. And that's actually where we are now. We're actually at general initiative. We've gone through all our HQs, so let's see what it comes up with. And well, it's not a 0, but a 1. Okay, now we have a choice. Do we try and spot probably that guy there, or do we try and get the assault team to lay down another grenade attack here? I'm inclined to do the grenade attack, really, and leave the spotting up to the tanks. So that's what we'll do. We'll do an attempt to attack with a grenade here, and we need to draw. The assault team is a line quality unit, so it's 2 cards, and we're looking for the grenade symbol. That's no, and no. Okay, so we actually get a grenade miss here, but that's gonna, well, it's gonna hurt us, but it's also gonna hurt them, so there's something in that, although we've got a lot more draws because we've got a lot more troops in that card. But hey, I think it was worth the risk, but it didn't really pay off. Right, that's general initiative done, so it's over to the Japanese side, and we see what their higher HQ is thinking of doing. And it is thinking of doing something with the HQ symbol there. So on our randomizer of 10, we get a 10. That sounds interesting. So what have we got on that? Right, just bring it in here, and we're looking at the 10 on the first mission, which puts us on the white, which is ammo resupply. Any machine guns receive 4 ammo points. Okay, so the ammunition that was spent last turn by the machine gun in the bunker here started off with 4. It's gone down to 3. It's now go up to 4. I don't believe you can actually stock more than the 4 anyway, so we just add that ammunition back, and it's going to be used this turn as well anyway. Okay, that's acceptable. At least it wasn't too bad for us. So now we have to do the enemy check, the activity check. So we have the pinned unit here, and then the 2 hidden units there. So let's go and do that. So as we have 3 units to check, we'll do a randomizer on 3 to see which one we'll check for first. 1, 2, and 3. And under 3 we have number 2. So that's the bunker, and we'll have a look and see what the possibilities are here. So on our hierarchy here, we're on, of course, the deliberate defensive tactics column. They're not on the same card. They're not out of ammunition. Not under fire, but they do have an LOS. Not under fire, but has opened a fire, placed a PDF. That's exactly what it's done. And here it's an automatic either grenade attack or concentrate fire. As it's firing a machine gun, there's nothing on its card. It will do a concentrate fire. So being line, we will draw 2 cards, and we're looking for the crosshair symbol to concentrate fire to add another +1. Sorry, not another -1 to the fire they've got on the tank here. So we don't have the crosshairs. Oh, we do have the crosshairs there. So we get to place a concentrate fire marker here, and that's the activity check done there. There was no draw on there. That's automatically what it was going to do while it was sitting in its bunker, is just to intensify its fire. Right, so the next thing is to randomize between these 2, 1 and 2, and we have number 2. So this is our pinned unit on that card. We use a different table because it's pinned. We use the pinned LAT pinned activity check hierarchy here. So I think it's the same as last turn, which is pinned undercover on a US occupied card. So we're on this table here, which is either no action, rally, or fall back. I think we had the rally last turn, didn't we? So let's look at the randomizer for that. Looking on the 5 column, and it's number 4. Number 4 is actually fall back. Well, that's great. That helps a lot, actually. But except for the fact that the grenade miss is now going to completely miss that that unit. But let's sort that out. Okay, so what happens is our pinned squad will retreat back to here underneath the trenches. Will be exposed as well. But we'll keep firing here, so that a volume of fire will appear here. So the rules do say that when you enter a card, you will conform to the PDF that's coming from that card. However, it also says that if you're falling back, that you continue to fire at the units you were firing at before, if you were firing at them. So I'll take that as taking precedence here. So that's what it'll do. And but however, the American units still fire at this card because they're not aware while firing that the enemy has moved out. We need to cease fire, and then they will switch their fire or do a shift fire order to shift fire onto that unit. Right, well, not to that unit, but that card, if you like. Currently, it's still engaged in this card. So that was a significant event. What that also means is that we're no longer heavily engaged, but just engaged, because we're not on the same card. We have 2 or more enemy on the board, but none on the same card. Right, all that's left is for this squad here in the trench to see what they want to do. Right, so let's see, they are not under fire, but they have open fire. It's pretty much exactly the same thing here as we had before, which is the concentrate fire piece as well. So you can have multiple concentrate fire markers. The concentrate fire markers actually go on a unit, so actually there is only one unit here, but for completeness sake, you actually concentrate on a particular unit. This one is going to do the same. So we draw 2 cards again, and we're looking for the crosshair symbol. So no and no. Oh, there's our grenade. So that's no effect. So that's the activity done for that squad and for all the enemy here. So that with that done, we're on to the retreat and capture phase. We do have litter teams here, 2 litter teams here which are not pinned, and they are under fire, so they may be able to do something this phase. Right, so yeah, so a litter team can pick up a casualty, and the other litter team will just leave of its own right, and they can move out of the card to a cover which is greater and not under fire. So around here, the only one that's really working here is actually the burning wreck out here in the surf zone. So I believe they go underneath there and hide behind all the smoke and fire coming out from the back of the wreck. So that's what they do, and they took the casualty with them. And that's our retreat phase, I think, done. The paralysed unit, that may move as well. Again, that will move in exactly the same manner. So we'll move it underneath the wreck here. Also, that does mean they're exposed, but that's not going to be a big deal so far. So they've cleared out of that at the same time as the Japanese did. So yeah, that's yeah, kind of story works, doesn't it? Okay. Now, where were we now? That was the retreat and capture phase. So now we will go to the vehicle phase, and I think we'll do the simple ones first, which is that LVT will move off the board. Oops, I haven't got the camera on there. That's this LVT from here will move off the board. I was retreating, and then we have our 4 LVTs moving onto the board. So this one here, this one here, here, and here, and we can then deactivate those. Now, just to note, these LVTs do actually have a fire capability, an automatic weapons fire capability. However, On the chart, they're not able to move and fire, and the programming of their moves is fixed, as in move to the surf zone, to the beach, back to the surf zone and off. So therefore they're always moving each turn, so therefore they don't fire at all. So yeah, so it's not particularly relevant. However, the tanks here are definitely relevant. Fine, so what we can do here, we have actually spotted this unit here now, because it is exposed, moving into the trench. So we could fire at that. I'd really like to spot this one first. So we will have this LVTA-4 attempt to spot this unit here, because once we do that, then the troops will start to fire into that card as well. So it's line again, so that's our two cards, and we're looking for the crosshairs. Definitely not there, and not there, so we didn't spot them. Okay, so what are we left with? We're really left with one target here, so we will target the this unit over here and fire on it. Now what we do with fire against infantry is we just place the marker, so the heavy weapons marker can be put down onto that unit itself. Now we do still have a hidden contact here, which is interesting. I will check up what we do about that, but that's certainly legitimate to fire on an exposed unit there, and that's what we'll do from that tank. Right. Oh, actually, I've just realised that none of that was on the camera. Apologies, because it was zoomed in a bit. Just go through that again. So we attempted to spot from here to the this unit here, and we failed. Then we used this tank here to fire onto that squad that ran back out of the spider holes, with the heavy weapons function that it has, the fire type it has. So yeah, apologies for that. I didn't realise that the camera wasn't actually looking where I was. It's an occupational hazard with these videos. Right, so that's that. That's the vehicle phase done. We are then onto the combat phase. And in the combat phase, the first thing we do, no incoming markers happening, so therefore the first thing is the potential contact marker. So we have this guy here to resolve a C, and we are currently engaged. So looking at the chart here, for a C on engaged, we have a 2-card draw. So this is to see if anything happens on this card, and we hope it doesn't, because, well, that's where our COHQ is currently at the moment, inside an LVT. So let's look. We don't want a contact to come up. So we have a rally, and we have the reshuffle. Thanks, reshuffle. Keep the suspense going. So the second card is a cover. It's not a contact. So brilliant. That means that C marker is removed, and we are now clear on potential contacts all the way up to the back row and to on row 2 here. We've cleared out everything back here, and this is effectively safe movement for the moment, as long as the fire angles go as they do. One thing actually to know that I missed is, as we have this LMG here, now if it was the HMG, which was this unit here, you'll see it's got the little arrow, yellow arrow on the top here. That means it's tripod mounted. Now a tripod mounted machine gun can do something called grazing fire. And what it can do is when it's firing on a particular card, it will place a PDF. However, that PDF will actually continue as long as LOS is possible, and also the elevation is the same. So in this case, if that was an HMG, we would actually put a PDF marker here and actually fire into this card as well with the symbol. So the LMG won't do that, but an HMG would. I just wanted to check on that, and we are doing it correctly at the moment. There isn't any further PDFs to place. Right, just reading up a bit. Actually, if a spotted unit moves onto a card with unspotted units, those units are automatically spotted as well. So therefore, this bunker has now been spotted. Fortunate for us, and that heavy weapons fire from the tank will affect the entire card rather than the unit. If the tank was firing at another vehicle, it would be a result against that vehicle, but as it's against the infantry, for infantry combat, it affects the entire card. Presumably it's several shots, I think, which is laying down that volume of fire. So interesting. We just going to remark the chaos that is happening over here. So we have the American units here pinned from a unit in spider holes, which has actually bugged out. The assault team here threw a grenade which missed, and there's no Japanese here anyway, but everybody is still continuing to fire onto that card to no effect. The action of the squad leaving the beach and going back to the dunes has exposed the bunker and allowed it to be spotted, and this tank here has then fired onto that card, and it's also the bunker and that moving unit, and the bunker itself has concentrated fire back on the tank. So quite a lot of stuff happening there, and that's the kind of thing that happens in this game, is it kind of goes into a life of its own, and you get these combinations happen, which you can well understand it happening under normal combat, or the possibilities are kind of endless, and there's almost that state with this one as well. Another thing to note here is, now that these units here are spotted, the units in this card, with there being LOS open on this card, can fire through onto that card. So we can place a PDF here, and looking at the possible sizes, we are looking at just small arms from the squad. Everything else is too short a range. So we do actually have a PDF coming from here, and that does mean that we have a crossfire situation. Also, I suppose this is happening as well. So the two PDFs are happening here. These guys are too busy still firing at the spider holes, but we do have a crossfire situation here, so we can add a -1. And that's what we do here. And I think I might put the small arms on just as a reminder. Right. Now we've kind of resolved all those anomalies, taking a little bit of time, sorry about that, but I think we want to get it right. We then have our resolution here, so resolving each of the cards. So let's do this tank here first. Just realised we should have done the tank earlier in the turn. I'll do it now. I forgot to do it in the vehicle phase, but yeah, nothing much has happened since then, so actually that's what we do here. So that and that resolution would have happened before it got to fire, actually. So let's just hold on with that heavy weapons fire there, see if the tank survives. So what we've got here is the tank being fired on with automatic weapons with a concentrate fire and a crossfire. So that's a -3. That's quite significant. And -3, and we also have -1 for the defensive value of the LVT tank. So it's a -4, and +1 for the terrain makes it -3. I just want to check whether there are any other modifiers here. Let's have a look on our chart. So, right, no, it's not incoming, it's not pinned. Automatic weapons fire is actually a +2. Oh, right, okay. So we add +2 to it because it's actually automatic weapons. This is firing in. So -3 goes to -1, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. So we have a -1 on our anti-tank. That's quite significant, actually. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. So -1 on our AT roll. It's a 4 going down to a 3. So the 3, I believe, is a retreat. Yeah, depends on the target type. So we are a target type V, yes. So a retreat is in order. Right, that's not a good result because that's equivalent of what we had earlier with an LVT getting a retreat result. What we effectively do is that tank just wanders off and doesn't want to play anymore. So that is actually out of the game. This does mean that we don't get the heavy weapons fire. We also don't get the crossfire. And all we are left with is the small arms fire coming across the dunes here. Oh, that's a shame. I was looking forward to seeing what that tank fire was going to do to that bunker, but nevertheless we only have that fire now. Let me just check about these two units actually continuing to fire into this card. Right, this doesn't happen with us, but it does happen with them. There's immediate ceasefire which is given, so these VOFs actually get removed. And we haven't actually done the combat phase here yet. So what these will actually do is they will then choose a new target. Now, the two targets they have, I suppose, is this stack here and these here. Now, I'm not sure they would fire through this card. They're not going to fire through their own people. So therefore, they would fire down here. Remember, the bunker can only fire in one direction. So it's effectively on ceasefire at the moment because it can't fire here. There's nothing for it to fire at. So that PDF is removed. So I think the upshot is we get this situation where we will get small arms fire from here. Yep, from this card here. The pinned coming in here, but of course the small arms takes precedent. So we have small arms fire coming in here, and of course we now have a crossfire happening here. So more fun and games going on with the result of this. So on top of what we had there, we now have the tank retreating and the squad here and the squad there now firing, concentrating on this card. Just wondering though, actually, would that happen with this squad? I think there's probably more steps here. 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Well, Okay, what am I supposed to do about that? So we have 6 and 6 here. So I think we will randomise it, I suppose. So I'll just check to see if there's any other priority. Yeah, just a random selection. So these will open fire here or here, a 1 or a 2. Let's pick the card. 2. So yeah, they are firing in here as well. Fine. So I think we've resolved all the PDFs and all the VOS, and we can now do the combat phase. It's taking a long while, but we've got to sift through all the different permutations of what's going on. Right, let's do our card first. So here we have small arms coming in with a crossfire for a -1. There's a +1 for the terrain card. Here there's a -1 for the grenade miss. Butterfingers. So we are on a -1 for that assault team. So let's see what -1 comes up with. -1 is a pin. So let's put a pin marker on there temporarily. And these units who are pinned will be on a 0 because they get a +1 from being pinned. So the gunnery sergeant on a 0. 0 is a pin, continues to be pinned. That's great. The fire team on a 0 is a miss, so they are not pinned anymore. So what I might do is remove that pin, stick the assault team with the gunnery sergeant, and move the fire team off. Our squad here on a 0. 0 is a hit. Great. And the result of that hit, and it's the first squad of that platoon, so it is veteran. And a veteran, we get an F with a fire, which is a fire team. So we need to replace this squad with the 2-step version and add a fire team in. Right, so here is the squad here and a fire team, and everybody's lovely and cozy in their pinned location here. And now we have a fire team, which is now unpinned. Okay, well that VOF changes to just small arms. If I can find one. And of course, remember that's actually targeting nobody. The grenade miss goes. Oops. Grenade miss goes. And that's what we're left with on the card. Still a lot of chaos. Right, we've done that. So now the only other card we deal with here is this one. So we have small arms fire coming in. It is a +1 in defense, so that's +1 there. For the bunker, there's another +3. So it's +4 for the bunker. The +4 is actually a pin, would you believe? Wow. Okay, that's great. We'll take that. That's a pin, although it wasn't actually firing. And now we have the squad here. So the squad is exposed for -2, but it is in the trench for +2. Those cancel out. We have a +1 here and a +1 here. So they are actually on the +2. +2 is also a pin. So great. They continue to be pinned where they are. So that entire card is now pinned as well. Well, that's great. We keep the small arms because actually the small arms fire is coming from over here, not from here. And yeah, that's kind of the resolution, I suppose. Not a huge amount happened to everybody in the end, other than that tank retreating. But yeah, that's what we've got. So that's our combat phase for turn 5. Quite eventful it was, and we went through quite a lot of exceptional situations to resolve there. It took a bit of time, so apologies for that, but we got there at the end. We can just do the cleanup now on the moved fired markers and the exposed markers. But of course, the critical thing that we managed, I believe that pin is taken off as well. The critical thing that we managed is to get our COHQ on the board in one piece, and it's now sitting in that LVT, although when it moves on to here, there is our jolly bunker waiting to open fire on it. So it's not all great, but we'll take it. That's turn 5. Tune in next time for turn 6, and I hope you enjoyed it and stuck with me, and we'll see how we get on next turn. Thanks for watching.